So I believe that we teach more than music. We explore what the world is and what it can be through the lens of music. And I'm so excited and thankful that female composers, as well as other underrepresented groups, are enjoying a renaissance, pun intended, in our music studios and the programming that we offer. Now, this video covers the top 3 reasons, at least according to me, of why to make a point of adding female composers to our studio programming. And these go beyond just stretching our horizons and, seeing new music or listening to new music, and into how it specifically impacts or positively impacts the lives of our students. Now, if you would like videos and resources looking at other underrepresented groups, please be sure to type underrepresented in the comments, okay? This lets me know that you would like more videos, more resources like this. So if we haven't met, I'm Rosemarie Penner from The Unfinished Lesson, and I want a life where I can have it all, honestly. I just want to be able to balance juggling work and a family life that includes twins, plus having the time and energy to be creative in my teaching. The Unfinished Lesson was really a way for me to help is a way for me to help other independent music teachers to be able to have balance in their life and creativity in their studio. Because guess what? You can have it all. Now, be sure to watch to the end. I'm going to be sharing 2 resources that will help you add more female composers into your studio programming. Kind of think of them as bonus ideas or bonus resources. All right, so reason number 1, students need role models. And yes, we're a role model to our students, but they need more than just us. And so there's different developmental stages. As I mentioned, we have twins, and over the years, as the only female in our home, the way that my twins have seen me has changed. So they went from girls can't play video games and girls can't do this and this and this, to now they understand that they can do all of those things. And part of it was my husband really emphasizing that, yes, women are able to, but also they were able to see me. And as they got older and matured, they were able to see it. At one point, one of my kids was so proud that when he was doing a project for school about family, he looked online and he found my promo picture. And he's like, I found your picture on the internet. And he just thought it was really cool that when he searched for me, he actually saw, oh, wow, there's this, mommy, she presents at conferences and she does these other things. So my goal as a mom is really to be a positive, strong female role model to my kids and my students. In terms of our students, especially our teen students, they're developing their identity. Who is it that they want to be? How do they want to be viewed by others? And so when we can give them role models that reflect the values and the things that are important to them, it means that they can see it's possible, that yes, the person that they're aspiring to be is possible. Somebody has already done that. Role models will change over the years. As I mentioned, my kids, the way that they see women has changed over the years. And so it'll be the same thing with our students. We can't just give them the same 5 role models, female role models, and call it a day. It also means we increase diversity within our studios, and it lets our students know that we care enough to give them role models, not only that they can aspire to, but that potentially look like them, that sound like them. And that's really important. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later in terms of this importance of role models that look and sound like our students. All right, reason 2, our musical canon is, or at least it has been underrepresented. It is changing and it's taking time, which is understandable, but our musical canon that we have taught for years and years and years is underrepresented, not just of female composers, but other groups as well. In terms of my experience, I had fantastic teachers. They really developed a love of music. But you know what? There was no point made of female composers. I think most of what I played was male composers. And so I didn't have the idea that I could compose. That's not something I started until I was an adult. And I saw some other examples of female composers and I went, well, maybe I could do this. And it turns out I absolutely love composing. Imagine how much earlier I could have started in that journey if the musical canon showed all these amazing female composers throughout history. We're talking about diversity as an industry more now, and that's a really positive thing. But how can we continue to close the gender gap, especially for female composers before the mid-20th century? If you look at method books, there's not a whole lot before the mid-20th century. Again, it's getting better, but it's kind of like we have our modern composers that can also be female, but the ones before that, as teachers, we're the ones typically having to go and find those resources, on our own. And so if the canon is underrepresented, we need to make a point of our own studio musical canon, the repertoire that we assign, that it's more diverse. By the way, on that note, we do need to celebrate the progress we've made. I know it sounds a little negative that it's underrepresented, but we can continue to make a point of moving forward, but we've come a long way. What I look at now in the repertoire books or the method books that I used, there's a big difference between them. And so we've made great progress, but let's keep it moving forward. So reason number 3, there's a lack of diversity in public classical musical performances. Now, I know some teachers, they kind of bemoan some of the music that students listen to nowadays, or the role models that they're kind of choosing within the music. But here's a thought. What do classical performances live or online look like to them? What do they look like? Is there lots of options? I mean, women are about 50% of the population on Earth, is roughly about 50% of the classical performances that are available to our students. Do they highlight roughly 50% female composers? Here's a stat for you. It's kind of a sad one. Of US major orchestras, only 0 to 13% feature music by female composers. And this is a stat from an NPR interview with Jennifer Higdon. Look, the canon, like I said in point 2, is that it's already filled with male composers. And so we have a bias to going towards things that are familiar. There's lots of reasons why there is this lack of diversity within major orchestras. And I will say that many of them are starting to make more of a conscious decision to include female composers or composers of color or composers just starting out, whatever it may be, right? So it's not that it isn't happening, but it's certainly not normal, shall we say, that we have so much, or that we have an accurate representation of the repertoire and the music that's available. Modern music, on the other hand, has a diversity that our classical music just hasn't highlighted. It's not that it wasn't there, it's that it hasn't been highlighted. And so it's really up to us to change these stats, that from 0 to 13%, right? If modern music is highlighting a diversity of not just female composers, but female composers that are younger or older, that are from a wide variety of backgrounds, that cover a wide variety of styles, then we need to highlight that in terms of the classical repertoire as well. All right, so as promised, there are 2 resources that are going to help you add more female composers to your studio, and in a way that it's not going to be overwhelming. I know that you are busy and that you've got lots of things to cover, and so these 2 resources will help you do that. One, the Travel Through Time Women in Music digital escape rooms. These are fantastic, especially if you don't want to have to spend a lot of admin time. These are fully set up for you. They are ready to go, and they basically mark themselves. So not only do they save on the prep time, but they save on the after lesson time as well. You can definitely get your studio copy of those, and you can focus in on either just individual eras, or you actually save 20% if you get the full bundle. Resource number 2, I'm going to have a link to the video. There's a video on how to include more women composers in your studio over here on YouTube. So please make sure that you check that one out as well. There's lots of different ways that you can do this. This is kind of the why, and that one covers more of the how. Okay, 1, type underrepresented in the comments below if you want more videos like this, if you want me to focus on other underrepresented groups within our music, both now and historically. If you found this video helpful, please make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss out on our series that's highlighting female composers.